Part 159. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1582. Zhang Chen walked off the stage, and Tan Shehen and Wen Wen walked towards him. Zhang Chen felt a little guilty and turned around to avoid it. Tan Shehen grabbed his shoulder, glared at him and said, "Zhang Chen, is there something wrong with you? Are you afraid of offending everyone?" "What's wrong? I didn't mention him by name, I just made a general reference," Zhang Chen defended. "You're so awesome, boss. You know the city in one breath. Do you think there are so many people sitting here who can't even understand the word city?" Wen Wen raised her thumbs towards Zhang Chen and said, "How many cities are there? The president is sitting below, and I don't even dare to look at them." As Wen Wen said that, she walked to Zhang Chen's side and blocked Zhang Chen so that other people who looked over wouldn't know what they were doing. "I'm on top, so I can't talk nonsense without conscience. What I say is all the truth," Zhang Chen said with a smile. Tan Shehen scolded, "What truth are you telling? How long have you been in the city? It's been less than 5 hours so far. You already know the city in 5 hours? Why don't you just demote me here? It's useless. What is it if it's not nonsense? What's the difference between you doing this and pointing at someone's nose and scolding them indiscriminately? If someone scolds you like this, can you bear it? I've scolded you, so what else can you do? Do you want me to take back all my words?" Zhang Chen said, "It's too late, I can't take it back. I know, you now regard other people as garbage and retarded. You are the only wise person in China, right? I think you are arrogant. When you stand on the stage, you no longer know who you are." Tan Shehen said, "If you scold me, scold me. Yes, if you scold me here, the worst we can do is just slap your butt and leave. Zhang Chen, let me ask you, why are you talking so much? Why am I talking too much? Why did you bring Hang Chen into this? We are not going back to Hangzhou. Do you know that you cursed here today during the day, and all the videos of you cursing were posted online at night, and the whole Hangzhou will know about it, and there will be more next time there are a lot of messages praising and scolding. What do you want to do? Are there any people as mean as you?" Tan Shehen asked. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment. He felt that the scene seemed familiar. After thinking for a while, he remembered that the scene was so similar to his performance at the meeting on Hangzhou-style women's clothing hosted by Lu Changcheng. He could not have imagined that he had experienced this before. After many years, this scene happened again, and Zhang Chen couldn't help laughing. "You are still laughing, you are so heartless," Tan Shehen said angrily. Zhang Chen said, "Okay, Tan Shehen, I will bear all the responsibilities myself. Anyway, I have already scolded them. Whatever they want, then just do it. It's terrible, it's terrible." Wen Wen whispered repeatedly. She saw Deputy Secretary General Xue of the municipal government who invited them here waving to her. Wen Wen helplessly shrugged at Tan Shehen and the others, made a face, then grimaced and gritted her teeth. "Walk over." Tan Shehen looked at her back and said, "How pitiful, Zhang Chen. Do you think that working with you is a high-risk profession?" Zhang Chen laughed, and Tan Shehen hooked her foot and kicked him. People in the auditorium were leaving one after another. When some people walked out, they deliberately walked around here. Zhang Chen saw that they were holding his own books in their hands, and they seemed to be coming to ask for his signature. Before these people could reach Zhang Chen and the others, they saw Deputy Secretary General Xue standing not far away, talking to Wen Wen and looking at them, and they immediately walked away. Zhang Chen understood that here, he was indeed the same as Tan Shehen said, becoming a plague god that others dared not approach. The people in the auditorium were almost gone. Wen Wen and Deputy Secretary General Xue walked over together. Deputy Secretary General Xue smiled from afar and stretched out his hand to Zhang Chen and said to him, "Wonderful, wonderful, Professor Zhang, your report today is very wonderful. We all listen below and feel that we have benefited a lot. Zhang Chen held his hand and shook it up and down. Since Zhang Chen started giving reports in various places, many people call Zhang Chen Professor Zhang. Wen passed the introduction to Zhang Chen to each inviting unit, which had multiple titles, including Young Entrepreneur, Painter, Art Critic, Collector, Famous Designer, General Consultant of CCTV's Painting Talk program, 100 Schools Lecturer of Lecturer and Visiting Professor of Zhejiang University of Communication. Although everyone knows that among these many titles, Entrepreneur is the most valuable, Zhang Chen is a real billionaire, and the Visiting Professor is the best, not a serious professor, but everyone still likes to call Zhang Chen Professor Zhang. Instead of Mr. Zhang, Professor Zhang and the podium are more suitable. Deputy Secretary General Xue turned to Wen and said, "Let's go, the leaders are still waiting." Wen quickly told Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen, "The leader wants to invite us to dinner, and several mayors are here." On the bus to the city hotel, Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen were sitting in the last row of the van. She quietly said to Zhang Chen, "Shut up, stop talking nonsense." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Okay, I'm definitely not going to throw a wrench into you with this stepping stone." "Get out," Tan Shahen rolled her eyes at him. During the meal, everyone was polite. Several mayors were very enthusiastic when they saw Zhang Chen. They all praised the quality of his report today. The term "contaminated words" was impressive. What surprised them was that when they saw Tan Shahen in front of them, they all thought that this beautiful woman was Zhang Chen's wife or confidant, who came to play with him. Only after introducing each other and exchanging business cards did they know Tan Shahen is actually the chairman of Splendid China. Several mayors were quite surprised. After chatting with Zhang Chen for a while, the topic quickly turned to real estate. They were eager to hear Tan Shahen's views on the current real estate, and Tan Shahen also gave them a talk. By the time the dinner was over, the mayor had personally sent out an invitation, hoping that Tan Shahen and the others, Splendid China, could participate in their city's old city reconstruction project. Tan Shahen also agreed and would bring relevant personnel from the company to come here again in a few days. Conduct a comprehensive inspection of the project and then further discuss cooperation matters between the two parties. After finishing the meal, Deputy Secretary General Xue invited Zhang Chen and the others to the box next door, and the others followed. Rice paper, ink, and paint had been prepared there. They knew that Zhang Chen was a painter, but they were not sure whether he was a painter or a painter. Those who paint in oil must leave their calligraphy treasures behind. Anyway, this is not the first time such a scene has happened. For Zhang Chen, although Chinese painting is not his strong point, he can still paint. He readily accepted the invitation and finished several paintings. Wen was also prepared and took out Zhang Chen's seal was inscribed on the painting. Deputy Secretary General Xue then asked the waiter to bring over a stack of Zhang Chen's books and took out a list. Zhang Chen looked at the list and wrote down a bunch of comrades such as Exhort Zheng, Ya Zheng and Huikan. Holding books and paintings, the guests and hosts shook hands and said goodbye. However, when they said goodbye, no one said they welcomed Zhang Chen to come again next time. Instead, they repeatedly told Tan Shahen that they hoped she could arrange her itinerary as soon as possible. Tan Shahen agreed with a smile. Wen watched Zhang Chen laughing from the side. The banquet room for Zhang Chen and the others was in a separate small building of the city hotel. Deputy Secretary General Xue escorted them out of the small building and went to building A of the hotel where they were staying. The three of them said goodbye to Deputy Secretary General Xue at the gate and waved. Watching Deputy Secretary General Xue get into the car and drive away, the three people turned around and walked inside. Tan Shahen and Wen looked at Zhang Chen and laughed while walking. Zhang Chen was confused by their laughter and asked, "What's so funny?" "It hurts my self-esteem. They don't even welcome us back," Wen said with a smile. Tan Shahen said, Deputy Secretary General Xue is probably relieved now that this god of plague can finally be sent away. Zhang Chen laughed and scolded, "Don't talk nonsense. I didn't see that the mayor has a very good attitude and a nice smile. How can he be as sulky as you said? The leader of the party in charge, how can we do without this kind of self-cultivation?" "Boss, you don't know, right?" Wenwen looked at Zhang Chen with a smile. "Don't know what?" Zhang Chen asked. "Mayor, I have only been transferred here for more than 2 months. You can't scold him even if you scold him." "Of course he is in a better mood," Wenwen said, "there are other people scolding you, but they are not here. Besides, the reason why people treat you so well is because they want you to understand, or help." Tan Shahen said, "You don't even see this." Zhang Chen looked at Tan Shahen and said, "I don't see it." "Tell me, what do you want me to know?" "Okay, let me enlighten you. People are friendly to you because they hope you can accumulate some moral integrity. When you go to other places, don't talk about them like you said about Hangzhou on the stage today. Their intentions are so obvious. It's just a matter of time." "I told you clearly," Tan Shahen said. "Actually, the person surnamed Xue has already told me what he meant," Wenwen said. "He said that the mayor has just been transferred, and there are so many things to worry about and he is under a lot of pressure. I hope there will be no other unexpected events that will affect him." The next morning, Deputy Secretary General Xue came to see them off. He brought a lot of local specialties and sent them to the airport. Deputy Secretary General Xue held Zhang Chen's hand and said, "Professor Zhang, if you have a new report, I hope you can tell me about it. I can just go online and download it myself." Listening to Professor Zhang's speech is really enlightening. I want to learn more. Zhang Chen just said hello, and Wenwen immediately took it over and told Deputy Secretary General Xue that I will send it to you if there is a new video. Please don't worry. Deputy Secretary General Xue quickly raised his hands to them and said thank you, thank you. Deputy Secretary General Xue said goodbye and left. Wenwen said, "Yes, we are now protecting Professor Zhang from fire and theft." Tan Shahen laughed. The three of them went through the security check together. Zhang Chen's cell phone rang while it was still in the plastic basket. Zhang Chen looked out and saw that it was Li Yong. He quickly took a few steps, passed the security gate, and picked up the cell phone from the plastic basket. "Hey, Zhang Chen, where are you?" Li Yong asked. "Over there." "Airport, preparing to return to Hangzhou," Zhang Chen said. "Okay, let's wait until you return to Hangzhou. Then, Zhang Chen, I'll call you tonight and we'll have a good chat," Li Yong said. Zhang Chen said yes. "Look, the commotion is getting louder." Tan Shahen was at the side, smiling happily. Thank you to Xiao Shen Nian Fang 48, Book Friend 1611221244098839, Tai Zongshang 1, 2 fishes 1 up and 1 down, for the reward at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for the monthly votes of Xiao Shen Nian Fang 48, Siver 1, Forgot Password, Start Again, Watch, Flying Bat Kajin, Pai Wuzun, Chubby Bear Who Loves Diving, Dong Long Dong, Jalugo, Book Friends 201708031824497769. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1583. The three of them returned to Hangzhou and had dinner together at Tuxianjiayuan on Yan'an Road. Tan Shahen wanted to know what Li Yong would say when he called Zhang Chen. She had to follow Zhang Chen to the office, and Zhang Chen couldn't even drive away. Tan Shahen went, and Wenwen also said she wanted to go. Zhang Chen looked at her, and Wenwen said, "I want to see Kioxin." "You're not so stingy that I won't even give you a lift, are you?" Tan Shahen laughed. She said, "Yes, I also went to see Kioxin." The three of them knew in their hearts that Li Yang's phone call at night must be related to Zhang Chen's speeches, especially his recent speeches. Sure enough, this complete video was posted online last night and caused a huge response. More than 9 million people have viewed and liked it, and more than 500,000 people have forwarded it. Tan Shahen went to the 19th floor forum in Hangzhou and felt a chill in her heart. She saw that there were about 20 posts on the 19th floor, all talking about Zhang Chen's video and the demolished city station train. Station and Qingtai Street, there was a lot of scolding below. Everyone said that Zhang Chen said it well. Tan Shahen thought that it was terrible. She had offended many people in Hangzhou and it was difficult to end the matter. Sure enough, Zhang Chen received a call from Li Yang today. At this time, Li Yang wanted to have a good chat with Zhang Chen. It is conceivable that it must be related to this video. Whether it is Li Yang or Lu Changcheng, they have all served as the mayor of Hangzhou City, and they must be very concerned about everything in Hangzhou City. It is impossible for them not to know about this matter, even if they have not seen it themselves. Regarding this video, their old subordinates in Hangzhou will also call and tell them about it. The reason why Lu Changcheng has not called Zhang Chen until now, Tan Shahen thinks, is because it is Lu Cheng. Lu Qing and Zhang Chen are still cooperating in the filming of painting. If he has any ideas, he will definitely tell Lu Qing, and it may be Lu Cheng. Qing stopped him from calling Zhang Chen. As for Li Yang, as a friend, he definitely felt that he had this obligation and needed to remind Zhang Chen to have a good chat with him. Tan Shahen felt that she almost knew what Li Yang would say on the phone. How could she suppress her curiosity and not listen to Li Yang's call to Zhang Chen? How could she let Zhang Chen go? This boring gourd has now become a public talker, but Zhang Chen is still Zhang Chen, and his stubborn temper is still there. She, Tan Shahen, is one of the people who can really persuade him, but she is not strong enough. Someone more powerful than her is Lu Ligan. Meng Ping and Li Yang were gone, and Lu Ligan and Meng Ping were not here now. Tan Shahen hoped that Li Yang could wake him up. It is said that trouble comes from the mouth, and Tan Shahen was very worried about this new talkative person, so that he should not get into trouble because of his words. On the other hand, Tan Shahen was secretly glad. She was glad that people in Hangzhou knew that Zhang Chen and Li Yang had been good friends and brothers for more than 20 years. Li Yang is now young and promising, and his career is promising, but there are people. I hate Zhang Chen because of this video and want to take revenge, but I also have some scruples because of Li Yang's relationship. Therefore, Tan Shahen wanted to know Li Yang's attitude even more. The three people walked into Zhang Chen's office. Tan Shahen and Wen Wen sat down on the sofa. Zhang Chen looked at them and said, "Aren't you looking for Su Qiaxin? Why don't you go?" Wen Wen giggled. She said she was tired and would rest here for a while before going upstairs. It was still early anyway. Tan Shahen smiled and said nothing. Zhang Chen shook his head and cursed two scoundrels. He walked to his desk and sat down, turning on the computer to see how far things were going online. As soon as Zhang Chen sat down, his cell phone rang. He glanced at it, stood up, picked up the cell phone and walked out the door. Tan Shahen grabbed him and shouted, "Just pick it up here, we promise not to talk." "Yes, yes," Wen Wen nodded repeatedly. Zhang Chen glared at them, flashed his phone at them, and cursed, "It's Lu Qing, do you want to listen to?" Tan Shahen looked at the name displayed on the phone and it was indeed Lu Qing. Tan Shahen let go of Zhang Chen and waved outside. Zhang Chen walked outside to the yard and pressed the answer button. As soon as the call came through, Lu Qing's laughter came over the phone. Lu Qing said, "Brother Zhang, you are famous again." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "What did you see?" "Seeing you making an impassioned speech and criticizing Hangzhou, and by the way scolding all the cities and all the civil servants in the country, the millions of likes below, I can say that I am very happy. By the way, Brother Zhang, where are you now?" Hang Chen Zhang Chen said. Lu Qing chuckled, Brother Zhang, are you going deep into the tiger's den? Didn't they bury you? Why are you burying me? I'm not telling the truth, Zhang Chen said. Yes, yes, what you said is true. When we were having dinner, my father recalled that at that time, the Chengdu railway station and Qingtai Street were to be demolished. There were two factions within the Hangzhou city government. One faction was in favor of demolishing it at the original site. When it comes to building a new train station, one group thinks that another site should be chosen to build a larger train station and retain the city station and Qingtai Street. Yes, there is still this matter, Zhang Chen said excitedly. Whose opinion does the old leader agree with? He was in favor of reservation, but it was a pity that at that time, his words were so light that it had no effect. My dad said that later facts proved that it was right to choose another site. After the Xink'an station was built, it was not long after it could not meet the growing demand for transportation capacity. Expansion of the scale became inevitable, and at the location of Chengzhan railway station, there is no condition for expansion at all, so we have to find another way. Moreover, it is unscientific to place a railway station for mixed use of passengers and cargo in the center of the city. As a result, the Chengzhan railway station has become a major traffic jam, with Jiangguo Road and West Lake approaching the railway station every day. The avenues were extremely congested. In order to catch the train, many passengers had to get off at Jiangguo Road and Zihu Avenue and run to the train station with their luggage. It turned out that there was no way. After the temporary transitional East Railway Station was built at Xink'an Station, there was no way to demolish it. Now we have to plan for expansion. My dad said, it would be great if this could be done in one step. The transportation capacity is insufficient. The problem has been solved, and the distinctive Qingtai Station and Qingtai Street have also been preserved. Yes, the old leader is right, Zhang Chen nodded repeatedly. Lu Qing chuckled, Brother Zhang, are you a little excited to hear this? Zhang Chen also chuckled and said, I'm really a little worried. I'm afraid that the old leader and you guys will have objections after seeing this video. How can our station have any objections? You are famous again, which can boost our ratings, Lu Qing said. My dad also laughed when he watched the video. He said, this is the real Zhang Chen. He said he is not surprised at all that you would say these words on stage. He said that you had demolished his stage in front of him before, haha. The old leader still remembers this. Lu Qing, please apologize to your father for me, Zhang Chen said quickly. What's the apology? Everything has become a joke. What else can I apologize for? By the way, Brother Zhang, we will come to Hangzhou the day after tomorrow. Let's discuss how to take pictures of the paintings in the National Art Exhibition Hall. In terms of form, can we change it? Lu Qing said. Zhang Chen said yes. Tan Shahen and Wen Wen sat there, watching Zhang Chen come back with a happy face. Wen Wen shouted. Oh, your face is flushed, boss, are you nourished by love again? Zhang Chen glared at her and cursed, what are you talking about? Why are you talking nonsense? This Lu Qing, she just likes you. Fortunately, I didn't become her love rival, otherwise I would be in trouble. Wen Wen curled her lips and said. Tan Shahen asked with a smile, are you in trouble or is she in trouble? Both of us are in trouble, Wen Wen said. She is stronger and I am more difficult to deal with. If we really fight, I am more shameless than her. She is thin-skinned, so she may not be embarrassed. Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen laughed. After laughing, Tan Shahen looked at Zhang Chen and said. Can you reveal what Lu Qing whispered to you? Zhang Chen smiled and said, she said all the secrets that can be revealed. He told the two of them what Lu Qing said on the phone, and both of them breathed a sigh of relief. Wen Wen patted her chest and said, hey, dear, I was worried about Lu Cheng, who would snap you up in anger, leaving you with your head in a different place. Tan Shahen smiled and said, no, Life is worse than death. It's painful. We can't let him be so happy. Okay, then life is worse than death, Ween Wen shouted. Jiang Chen scolded, how much hatred do you two have against me? Do you hope that I will die badly? Ween Wen laughed wildly and fell into Tan Shahen's arms. Tan Shahen said, I hope you can learn from it and gain wisdom? Yes, I want your face to be covered with moles, Ween Wen nodded repeatedly. Jiang Chen's phone rang, and this time it was Li Yong. Jiang Chen knew that he couldn't escape, so he said to the two of them, don't talk, it's Li Yong's phone. Ween Wen quickly sat up straight, put her hands on her knees, pursed her lips tightly, and looked at Jiang Chen with a straight face, like an obedient primary school student sitting there. Jiang Chen was almost amused by her. Jiang Chen pressed the answer button and said to the phone, hello, Li Yong. Okay, Jiang Chen, you are in trouble now, you have exploded again, Li Yong said, do you feel like you are turning purple now? Hongfu, I never thought about it. Li Yong, why did someone here in Hangcheng file a lawsuit against you? Jiang Chen asked. Does anyone still need to complain? When I turn on the computer, you have already dominated the screen. Your video is being talked about everywhere, and people can't help but watch it, Li Yong said. No, I just arrived at the office in the morning, and the monkey called me and let me watch this video. When I got home earlier, Sun Hui told me about this video again. Jiang Chen, you are like dust that cannot be wiped away, you are pervasive. Jiang Chen laughed and said, haha, Li Yong, I made you laugh by talking nonsense on stage. Li Yong also laughed, and then said seriously, your nonsense is true, but I can't laugh it off. Jiang Chen, I have to remind you, just like when I was transferred to Beijing and Qingdao, you kept calling me and reminding me not to reach out. As a brother, if I don't remind you now, I will be unqualified. Although Jiang Chen's phone was not on speakerphone, the office was very quiet. Both Tan Shahen and Ween Wen heard Li Yong's words clearly. Ween Wen's right hand grabbed Tan Shahen's left hand and pulled tightly. While answering the phone, Jiang Chen looked up at Tan Shahen, who nodded. Thank you, Xiao Sheng, who is only 48 years old, for the face-saving reward. Thank you for being 48 years old, everlasting Emperor Yan, Jinwu Lanji, the lonely Fenghu, my heart is falling for you, face, Zongkai 727, He Shi Yitan, 0HJKLG, Dong Long Dong, Kingbo, Yuengzi, Shiyo 201911021135464718, Book Friend 201912170332388847, Book Friend 1607281508205540 Monthly Pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1584. Jiang Chen, don't you feel happy when you see millions of likes now? Do you feel like you have the power to rise up? Li Yong asked. Jiang Chen said honestly, it feels really good. It's like having people read the book you wrote or applauding your fashion show. I think this is a normal reaction for everyone, right? Yes, no one is willing to be unknown, and no one is willing to do what they do in silence. Li Yong said, it is Yan Ziling who lives in seclusion. He fishes by the Fukun River. He also uses a straight hook. He wants to be deliberately different, for fear that others will not know that he is living in seclusion, so there is a saying, called straight hook fishing for profit. The starting point is the same, for fame and fortune, and to satisfy their own needs. Li Yong, are you mocking me? Haha, you really can't curse without swearing, Jiang Chen laughed. Yes, I am just mocking you and reminding you, Jiang Chen, Li Yong said, Do you know what those millions of likes are? Zhang Chen shook his head. I don't know, you teach me. That is the blind crowd, the blind masses, or there is another word, mob, which refers to a group of homogeneous psychological consciousness who refuse rational and complex thinking and do not accept the various opinions provided to them, ideas and beliefs. They simply choose two extremes, either accepting them entirely or rejecting them entirely. In their values, there is only absolute truth or absolute falsehood. On the internet, it means a thumbs up or a thumbs down, a thumbs up or a thumbs down, there is no in-between option. This kind of praise or denial is actually the cheapest, but it has an effect, that is, it creates an illusory atmosphere, a force that pushes forward, making the person being praised feel as if he represents millions. When people speak out, they have a false illusion, which is what I said, they feel that they have the power to rise up and shout. Although the unanimous behavior of the masses is cheap, few people can stand it and move forward without being supported by them. The leaders of all mass movements are supported by such mobs, thinking that they are the source of strength. I know that these people are actually the same group of hosens. When the tree fell, they gather quickly and disperse even faster. They are not responsible at all, let alone have any obligations. In reality, they are just people who gather around to watch and boo when there is a fight on the street. On the internet, because of their anonymity, it is easier to gather and disperse, and they are framed by such a group of people. Is very dangerous. Li Yang, what do you mean by these words to me? Zhang Chen asked. Do you think I am at risk of being kidnapped by them? It's not the risk, it's the fact that you have been kidnapped. Zhang Chen, you are being pushed forward by them. Li Yang sighed and said. Zhang Chen, I know that according to your personality, it is difficult for you to refuse and not be kidnapped. In your opinion, these millions of likes are goodwill and support for you, and you feel that you cannot live up to it. But in fact, it is completely that's not the case. They can praise you at this moment and scold you as worthless when they turn around. If you take it seriously, you are showing the wrong attitude. Zhang Chen defended, I didn't ask for any support from them. Everything I said was just representing myself. Representing yourself? Think about it calmly, Zhang Chen. If you only represent yourself, you will not be interested in the public issues you talk about at all. I have read your painting theory and 100 Schools Forum Seeds of Art in the Fire. Those programs are very good, that is your specialty, and you really know it. You said that represents yourself, I believe it. Li Yang paused for a moment and said, Zhang Chen, when I speak today, I may speak more bluntly and harshly. Don't mind it, okay? Zhang Chen said yes, you name it, I'm not that chicken-hearted. Okay, let me continue. Li Yang continued, but to be honest, I feel very strange when I see your speeches. I feel that they are not you. What I see is an actor performing on the stage, performing the role of the self-righteous public intellectual. Many people now like to play this role, public intellectual. I can tell you privately that I am very disdainful of this term. I think that after Sartre, there were no public intellectuals in the world at all. Some are speculators. They treat this industry as a business, or they use it to increase their own value and wait for the price. Zhang Chen, I am not scolding you, but it can also be said that I am. I scold you, if I don't remind you, I think you are in danger of going in this direction. Tell me honestly, don't you watch your online videos? Zhang Chen smiled and said, look. If no one likes it, would you feel disappointed? If you see so many people liking it, would you be excited? Li Yang asked. We have discussed this before, and I agree, Zhang Chen said. I have also gone through this process, and I can understand it, Li Yang said. When you stand there and speak, and the people below respond, you will feel a sense of heroism in your heart. Zhang Chen, you look at that. Do you feel the same way with millions of likes? Zhang Chen thought for a moment and said, okay, a little bit. It's not that a little bit, You probably also enjoy a kind of pleasure, feeling that you are speaking for millions of people, right? Li Yong continued to ask. Zhang Chen sighed, I admit, I feel this way. It is this feeling that will stimulate your desire to perform. Your postures and language will become more and more exaggerated. Oh no, you think you are getting bolder and sharper. Otherwise, there is no way to get more applause. This is what I mean, you are lifted up by them, you are pushed forward by them, they lift you up with applause and praises one after another, and you perform as if you will not stop until your words are amazing. Let's go, Li Yong, is it as exaggerated as you said? Zhang Chen shouted, I just told a few truths. I admit that what I said may offend some people, but shouldn't they be offended? Yes, many things and many people are indeed subject to criticism, and you also have the right to criticize, Li Yong said, but do you understand the people or things you criticize? The causes of many things are it's very complicated. The complexity may be beyond your imagination. Have you ever understood it before criticizing it? Or are you interested in understanding it? Zhang Chen, tell me, are you just pretending to be critical, or are you really dissatisfied with someone or something? If you are really dissatisfied, why don't you take some time to understand this matter clearly? Isn't it pointless to criticize without a clear understanding? It is untargeted and has no targeted criticism. What is the meaning of this kind of criticism? Will it help solve the matter or present the truth? It is untargeted and it is just shooting with your eyes closed. Can you hit the target accurately? To put it bluntly, this is the same as nonsense. What's the difference, Zhang Chen, tell me? Zhang Chen was speechless for a moment. He admitted that when he was on stage, many times he was just quick to talk and said whatever came to his mind. He never had the time or effort to understand what he said clearly. Zhang Chen said, Okay, Li Yong, I admit that many times, I just talk casually on stage. This is what I want to remind you, this is the dangerous place, Li Yong said, if it's just 3 or 5 of us drinking together, Zhang Chen, we can talk openly and say anything. We have said it before and heard it. I laughed, but you are on stage, and the audience below is not your friend. Moreover, you are still a public figure. If you say something casually, people will take it seriously. Zhang Chen scratched his head and said with some embarrassment, I haven't even thought about this. I know you haven't thought about this, so I want to call you to remind you, Li Yong said, as a public figure, you must be responsible for your own words and deeds. You must be cautious in your words and deeds, and say what you can do what you said, at least say what you understand. You must know that your words and deeds can affect other people, and you must be responsible for your words and deeds. Zhang Chen was silent. He had to admit that Li Yong's words were right. Some of his actions were indeed too frivolous. Sometimes he even took the stage to give a speech and didn't take it seriously at all. He felt that as long as he went up and said it, it would be enough. I just wanted to bring up the atmosphere at the scene without thinking about the consequences after speaking. Li Yong slowed down his tone and said, Zhang Chen, if you are really dissatisfied with something and feel that they have done something wrong, I said that you have the right to criticize, then at least take the time to investigate and study it carefully. Only then do you come to your conclusion. No matter how big the matter is, if you formulate your criticism after careful investigation and research, you can give it to me. I can guarantee that your critical text will appear on the table of the top leadership and draw their attention to this issue. If so, will it be more effective than posting a few videos online? If you really want to change in this society, I think this is the correct and efficient way. Zhang Chen laughed dumbly and said, No, Li Yong, you know I'm not that material and I won't be willing to do something like that. Okay, Li Yong, thank you. I accept your kindness and I'll take care of it from now on, just keep your mouth shut. Li Yong laughed and said, I knew you, Zhang Chen, were a sensible person. Oh, no, Zhang Chen, have you encountered something recently? Are you diverting your attention? No, no, what will happen to me? Zhang Chen said quickly. Really? Li Yong asked, looking at those videos. I felt weird. I felt that it was not the Zhang Chen I knew. Zhang Chen, if you have anything, you must tell me. Zhang Chen said, I understand, thank you Li Yong, nothing is really wrong. Li Yong said okay, as long as it's okay. If you have something to ask, don't keep it in your heart. You just like to keep things in your heart. Thank you, Daos Hung 123, for the reward of 2 fishes at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Lao Chen Tang, Frivolous, Crush Killer VIP, 051258969609, 999 Little Stupid Cow 999, My Heart is Falling for You, Book Friend 1607281508205400, 0HJKLG, Dung Long Dong, Book Friend 2017112108323716. It is not impossible, the world, the road, the sea and the sky, look at the mountains and rivers, galaxy, Book Friends 201708031824497669 monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1585. Tan Shahen and Wen Wen kept staring at Zhang Chen, waiting for him to hang up the phone to Li Yong. Tan Shahen said. Zhang Chen, Li Yong is right. You are indeed performing. When you were on stage, I didn't even recognize you. Zhang Chen smiled and said, learned it from you. Your acting skills are better than mine. Tan Shahen said, you successfully played Professor Zhang, an old angry young man. Zhang Chen and Wen Wen laughed. Wen Wen said, I've been scared by you, and I won't dare to take on this kind of business in the future. Tan Shahen is right. In the future, all government department speeches should not be given to him. Otherwise, as he talks, he will not know when a disaster will come. People will go crazy before they see him on stage. The more he talks, the more he talks. More crazy? Wen Wen agreed not to answer the call. What, Tan Shahen, you don't even want a stepping stone? Zhang Chen asked Tan Shahen with a smile. Tan Shahen shook her head, no, I don't want to see anything happen to you. If something happens to you, it will be of no use no matter how many projects I have. I can't bear to leave this big baby, Wen Wen said. Well, Wen Wen, let's make some plans, Tan Shahen said. In the future, we can accept all art-related activities, as well as activities such as opening ribbon cuttings and new product launches. Anyway, this kind of activity needs to be he has a face and doesn't need to speak, so stop everything else and don't give him a chance to talk nonsense. Wen Wen said yes, we can increase the appearance fee. If the price increases, we can cancel this part of the activity. This person is really not very clear-headed. The less money he has, the more energetic he will talk, especially when it comes to places. In college, I probably saw a lot of little girls down there who would talk nonsense and make those people below get very excited. I'm going. Now we can't let him go. Don't let yourself be charged with organization and incitement, Tan Shahen said. Okay, I won't let him go, I'm already scared, Wen Wen said quickly. Zhang Chen looked at the two of them singing along and cursed, do I need you to take care of me? Have you asked me to take care of it? If you need it, please ask or not, we will take care of you, Tan Shahen said. Who will take care of you if we don't care? Wen Wen nodded yet. Zhang Chen, what Li Yong said to you was well intentioned. He probably won't say it to a second person again. He really cares about you and is worried about you. Just listen to his advice, Tan Shahen explained. Whether he listens or not, I won't answer him anyway, Wen Wen said. He is not that shameless. He will run out and promote himself. At this time, he is very thin-skinned. Tan Shahen laughed and said, "Okay, Ween Wen, we will start from you to guard him to death, and we will suffocate him to death." Ween Wen said yes. She glanced at Zhang Chen and said to him, "Don't glare at me. It's useless to glare at me. You can't seduce me. That's it. We're doing this for your own good. Be good and stop let mom worry about it." The two women burst into laughter. Zhang Chen shook his head helplessly, stood up, walked to the desk and ignored them. They sat for a while longer, and Tan Shahen stood up and asked Zhang Chen, "Are you leaving?" Zhang Chen said he wouldn't leave. "Then you take me home." Tan Shahen and Ween Wen said that Ween Wen had agreed that because Ween Wen often came to Hangzhou, she refused to stay in a hotel no matter what, saying it was a waste of money, so she stayed in the room where Su Kioxin originally lived. The two people walked out. Zhang Chen was alone in the office. He stood up, walked to the window, put the cigarettes, lighter, and ashtray in his hands on the window sill. He took out a cigarette from the cigarette case, lighted up and looked outside while smoking. He saw the splendid Jiangnan office building opposite. It turned out that Lao Ni's company was brightly lit, and there were many people moving around. He didn't know what company it was in that place now. It had been dark for several months, but it seemed that it was now legal. The auction was successful. Zhang Chen's brain was in a mess. At this time, he really hoped that Lu Ligan was here, although he knew in his heart that if Lu Ligan were here and saw his current appearance, he would probably have an affair with Li Yong. I had the same idea. While scolding him for being a fool, I helped him analyze the problem and then gave him a solution. Brothers are like siblings, who doesn't worry about their limbs getting burned, pricked, or cut. Zhang Chen stared outside blankly. The cigarettes were reflecting brightly on the window glass. After smoking 2 cigarettes, Zhang Chen calmed down and thought about it carefully. He felt that Li Yong seemed to have seen through. He didn't even understand his thoughts. Zhang Chen sighed. Li Yong was right. He had indeed encountered something. He was avoiding it subconsciously. When he calmed down and thought about it, Zhang Chen thought it was the demolition of the Xiaosha factory that made him flustered and at a loss. He could only follow Ween Wen and fly around the country. Only when you keep yourself very busy every day and don't even have time to think about it will you feel better. This filled up the suddenly free time. For so many days, he lived in a muddle. On airplanes and cars, he was always thinking about what he should say next and what kind of unique opening he should have. At night, when he turned on the computer, he would watching my video over and over again and the dense comments below. I felt satisfied. For several days, Zhang Chen now remembered that he fell asleep to the sound of his own speech. Yes, his language is getting sharper and his content is getting bolder. He really wants to earn more applause and clicks, and earn more comments. Looking at those passionate words, Zhang Chen feels like he was falling rapidly, as if he had taken drugs, and his mind was spinning rapidly. The days passed like this. Zhang Chen dodged, Zhao Zhigang and the others moved away, the factory in Xiaosha was demolished, and Xiaoli took some people to Gongchen Bridge. Zhang Chen was shocked, and then he remembered that he had never been to the garment factory inside Gongchen Qiao Hangcheng Spoke factory since it opened. It had been several months now, and he was always busy with excuses. I am also busy showing it to others, making others feel that I can't help myself, which is why I have difficulties. In fact, what's the reason? Isn't he just dodging? Zhang Chen thought of this, especially when he realized that he had never been to the factory in Gongchen Qiao, and he couldn't help but sweat. Damn it! Fortunately, Xiaoli is capable. Even if she lets go, she still takes care of it. But she is still the same person as before. In order to catch up with the work, she would get up very early every day and go to Zhao Zhigang's tailor shop to help Zhang who worked together. Morning. Zhang Chen turned around and walked out of the door and walked to the yard outside. He walked a few steps toward the dormitory building and saw that it was dark there. He was stunned for a moment before he remembered that the e-commerce department had already moved to the front. The original went to the basketball gym. Zhang Chen shook his head with a wry smile, turned around and walked through the small door towards the basketball gym. The area near the gate of the basketball stadium is brightly lit, and about 20 people are sitting there, tapping their fingers, talking to buyers. Past this office area, there are rows of neatly arranged shelves. The clothes transported from Gongchen Bridge are all placed on the shelves. There is no packing now. All the lights in that area are turned off. In the morning, it is also extremely busy. Thousands of clothes have to be put on the shelves every day, and thousands of clothes have to be taken off the shelves and packed every day. Then the express packages are sent out one by one. Zhang Chen remembered. He remembered that Zhao Jingjing had told him that the current sales of the e-commerce department had caught up with their original turnover when they were franchise agents. In this way, both in terms of sales and production scale, it is not small, but I actually feel that this department and this factory do not exist, and I have forgotten them for a long time. Zhang Chen feels ashamed. He should be ashamed. Just when you criticize current affairs and talk rhetorically on the stage, it is not the millions of likes, nor the mobs as Li Yong said, that are supporting you, but it is these people, these employees under me, who are really supporting you with their hard work. When Li Wei saw Zhang Chen come in, she stood up and walked over. She smiled at Zhang Chen and said, "Mr. Zhang, is it so rare?" Zhang Chen smiled sheepishly, "Yes, it's so rare. A small door separates you, but you are so rare." Zhang Chen asked, "Are you okay?" "Okay," Li Wei said, "these new employees are getting started now." "New employee? When did you get new?" Zhang Chen knew that Xiaoli must have told him, but he had forgotten. Zhang Chen looked around and saw almost all familiar faces. Zhang Chen was a little confused and asked, "They are?" It turns out that salespersons from shopping malls and specialty stores in Beijing and Shanghai were willing to come to work in Hangzhou, and Xiaoli asked them to come over. Li Wei said. Zhang Chen nodded, and then he understood what was going on. "By the way, where is Xiaoli?" Zhang Chen asked. "The factory is very busy and we are still working overtime. Xiaoli is watching over there. She won't be able to come back until about 12 o'clock. Li Wei said that Zhang Chen withdrew with "Oh. He felt that his face was a little feverish and he did not dare to stay here any longer. Zhang Chen came back from the small door and saw Wen Wen coming up from downstairs. Zhang Chen said, "Why don't you go to Gongchen Bridge to see Xiaoli? She is still working overtime there." "Okay, go, Wen Wen shouted. The two of them walked downstairs. When they reached the stairs, Zhang Chen felt that his legs were weak. He quickly stretched out his right hand and put it on Wen Wen's shoulder. Wen Wen seemed to have misunderstood and turned towards Zhang Chen. He leaned over and put his arms around his waist. The two stopped on the stairs, turned around, and started kissing. There were people coming and going here, and the two of them didn't dare to stand for too long. After kissing for a while, Wen Wen laughed softly. She reached out and patted Zhang Chen's face and said to him, "I understand, you can regret this, I took advantage of you." After saying that, Zhang Chen's face turned red, and Wen Wen laughed. "Thank you to Pang Pang Xiang, Hu, Xiao Ao Shang Jushan, and the mountains, rivers and roads who love diving for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1586. The two people arrived at the parking lot downstairs. Zhang Chen and Wen Wen said, "Give me the key." Wen Wen shook her head and said, "If you don't give it, I'll open it." "Do you know the road?" Zhang Chen asked. Wen Wen said, "Oh," gave the car key to Zhang Chen, and sat in the passenger seat. After getting in the car, neither of them spoke. Zhang Chen started the car and drove out of the parking lot. When they got to the North Ring Road outside, Wenwen rubbed her face hard with both hands, raised her head, and said ouch, called out. Zhang Chen turned to look at her and asked, "What are you doing? You're such a bad guy, you've made me, an old gangster, so shy." Wenwen pouted. Zhang Chen laughed loudly, and both of them were relieved by this smile. It is already 10 o'clock in the evening, and the number of pedestrians and vehicles on the street has begun to decrease. Many shops on both sides of the street have closed. The neon lights and light boxes in front of the shops and on the top of the building have been turned off, but some are still on. They look a little lonely. They are either hotels that still serve late-night snacks, or KTVs and internet cafes. Wenwen bit her thumb and looked outside. After a while, she let out a long sigh and said, "Compared with Beijing, I still like Hangzhou. Beijing is too big. Especially at this time, when you drive outside, you will feel that the city is very cold. Then you come back to Hangzhou," Zhang Chen said. "How do you come back? Everything in Beijing was captured with great difficulty, how can you throw it away?" Wenwen sighed again and said, "It's impossible to come back. Sometimes I think it's funny. It's better to be alone, so carefree and free. I work hard and earn a lot of things. But in the end, these things are in vain. I came here and tied you up again, your life is really miserable." Zhang Chen wanted to laugh when he heard this, but felt that he couldn't. He held the steering wheel with his left hand and reached out with his right hand to hold Wenwen's hand. Wenwen's hand escaped. She said, "No, I was afraid that I would cry." Zhang Chen nodded, and the two of them stopped talking. The further we drove, the closer we drove to the edge of the city. The lights outside were getting darker and darker. Wenwen still bit her finger and looked outside. Zhang Chen occasionally turned his head to look, and he saw Wenwen's eyes shining in the gloom. Zhang Chen's heart tightened. We are finally approaching the Hangcheng Spoke Factory. This large abandoned old industrial area is so dark that even the street lights are not clear whether they are broken or not turned on at all. In the entire industrial zone, only the Hangcheng Spoke Factory still has lights. There was a bright light, but this light seemed to be suppressed by the dark night and could not spread out. The door of the Spoke Factory was closed. Zhang Chen honked the horn twice. The door of the communication room opened and a security guard came out. He walked into the car lights behind the iron gate and squinted his eyes, trying to see the license plate clearly. Zhang Chen, the car window was pressed down, and the chilly night suddenly rushed in. "I'm going to die," Wenwen cursed. Zhang Chen stretched his head out. Obviously, the security guard was more familiar with this head than the license plate. He waved his hand, pulled up the latch of the iron door, and opened the iron door to both sides. Zhang Chen said quickly while driving in. He said thank you, and closed the car window again. It was quiet in the factory area. On the road illuminated by the car lights, a large piece of curled fallen leaves of the French plane tree appeared. The car drove over it, making a rustling sound. Behind the rustling sound, there was a faint sound. The sound of the hemming machine and sewing machine, as well as the loudspeakers being turned on in the workshop, could be heard. The further we drove, the clearer the sound became. By the time Zhang Chen turned the corner in front, the clicking sound had completely overwhelmed the rustling sound, and the car seemed to be gliding silently on the fallen leaves on the ground. The lights were on in the two side-by-side factory buildings. A wall and a door were built in the middle of the two factory buildings to separate the factory buildings from the roads outside, forming a factory within a factory layout. Zhang Chen did not drive the car. He drove directly into the factory and parked in the parking lot next to the factory building outside. The old-fashioned factory building has a very high floor height of 5 or 6 meters. A whole row of connected windows opens close to the roof, making the parking lot shrouded in the shadow of the factory building. Zhang Chen stopped the car and just turned it off. Ween Wen opened the door and got out of the car without even taking the down jacket thrown in the back seat. Zhang Chen was about to remind her that the car door beside him was opened and Ween Wen was standing outside the car. With a push of his hand, the entire seat, including Zhang Chen, moved back. Before Zhang Chen understood what was going on, Ween Wen had already bent down and got into the car, sitting astride his lap. Zhang Chen felt like he was in the dark, and his face was on fire. Ween Wen stared at Zhang Chen in the darkness. Even in the darkness, her eyes were still shining. She said to Zhang Chen, "I know we can't be boyfriend and girlfriend, but we can have a simple need-to-need relationship between a man and a woman. Who can control us? Do you agree?" Zhang Chen said yes, but he didn't know what else he could say besides saying yes. The factory door is closed, but the small door above the main door is open. Zhang Chen and Ween Wen walked in. The door of the workshop was open, but there was a heavy curtain they made on the door, which tightly blocked the door and blocked the wind, but made it easy for people to come in and out. Zhang Chen and Ween Wen opened the door curtain and walked in. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment when he saw the scene in the workshop, feeling that he couldn't adapt to it all at once. He was used to looking at the spacious and clean workshop of Xiaosha factory. At first sight, he felt shabby. The factory building here is very high. It is suitable for Chu Tianlin and others to use as a printing factory, but it is too high to be used as a workshop for a clothing factory. The sewing workshop has very high requirements for lighting. When it was originally renovated, we could only lower steel wire ropes more than 3 meters long from the roof, and then use flat aluminum alloy tubes at a height of 2.5 meters to form a vertical and horizontal structure. A frame, on which a fluorescent lamp and the power cord of the sewing machine are installed. Zhang Chen and the others looked neat and tidy when they first installed it. After a few months, the hanging aluminum alloy frame began to fall up and down, especially the filamentous dust generated every day in the sewing workshop, which was now covered with aluminum alloy. On the frame, on the steel wire rope hanging from the roof, and on the power cord of the machine hanging from the aluminum alloy frame. Zhang Chen looked sad. He didn't believe that this was his own factory, his own workshop. After so many years, it seemed that he had returned to the dilapidated warehouse with mud walls when he was in Sanbeo. It was just that the scale was larger than that time. But the simplicity of the workshop remains the same. Zhang Chen understood that this seemed to be the reason why he was hiding subconsciously and did not come here. It was as if he, who was now accustomed to living in 5-star hotels, was stuffed back into the bunkhouse in the corridor of the hunky hotel and held back. The reactions of humiliation, loneliness, and discomfort are certain. Where the door came in, there was a very long table. Ahua, who was in charge of inspection, sat there, inspecting clothes one by one. When she saw Zhang Chen coming in, she turned her head and shouted towards the depths of the workshop. "Xiao Li! Xiao Li!" The workshop was very noisy. Xiao Li was talking to a supervisor. Ahua's voice was not heard, but someone did. He stood up and walked over, patted Xiao Li on the shoulder and pointed in this direction. Xiao Li turned around and saw Zhang Chen and the others. She raised her hands and waved, and then continued talking to her supervisor. Zhang Chen asked Ahua, "Is it comfortable to move here?" Ahua said, "We working people are the same wherever we go, as long as we have a job, we can do it. If my husband hadn't also been working in Hangzhou, I would have gone to Zhongshan with Liangfen and the others." Zhang Chen nodded, feeling a little emotional. He didn't expect them to be more adaptable than him. It seemed like he was being hypocritical. After Xiao Li finished talking to her supervisor, she walked towards them. Xiao Li asked, "Why are you here?" Zhang Chen said, "I came to see you." Xiao Li quickly said, thank you, you are so busy, you still have time to come here." Zhang Chen pointed to the top of the head and said to Xiao Li, "This needs to be renovated and a suspended ceiling added." Xiao Li waved her hands quickly, No, Why spend the money? It's good like this, as long as it can be used, it will be more breathable. Xylee took them to look at each workshop in the two factory buildings. Zhang Chen was quite emotional when he saw the familiar faces. Zhang Chen asked Xylee if the workers had moved here from Xiaosha. Come on, are you feeling okay? Do you feel lost? Xylee looked at him and asked strangely. What are you missing? We built the factory here, and they can continue to work with us. They are all very happy. Now the life of the garment factories outside is not easy. The wages here are high, and they will not be owed wages for a day. Many people you can't get in even if you want to. Zhang Chen felt better after hearing what Xylee said. At the same time, he seemed to feel a stone falling to the ground. Wenwen said, it's the same here. Qian and I have agreed that when funds are tight, workers' wages must be the first priority, so as to retain workers. Zhang Chen looked at her and said, when you are short of funds, won't you call me? No, you're not our nanny, and you won't always be nervous. Just once or twice, we can handle it. If you can't handle it, why should you run a factory? Just close it. What Wenwen didn't tell Zhang Chen was that the reason why they were short of funds was because she and Qian bought the factory from He Hongmei. They now have a cooperative relationship with He Hongmei, not a partnership. At 12 o'clock, the factory got off work, and the workers went to the cafeteria for supper. Zhang Chen remembered that little girl Haggis who made supper in the evening. Zhang Chen and Xylee said, let's go, I will take you go to eat delicious food across Gongchen Bridge. The three of them walked to the opposite street. As expected, little sister's Haggis was still open. The three of them chose a table and sat down. Zhang Chen ordered a piece of plain mutton, a piece of lamb scorpion, and a pot of haggis soup. When the haggis soup came, Wenwen quickly scooped up a bowl and placed it in front of Zhang Chen. She smiled and said meaningfully, come on, you need to patch up. Zhang Chen rolled his eyes at her. Xylee didn't know what was going on, so she responded and said, yes, boss, you really need to catch up. Ji Ling showed me your speeches. I saw you were so energetic on stage. Oh my god, you are better than me, we are still tired from work. Wenwen laughed, and Zhang Chen also laughed. Thank you Daos Hung 123, 0HJKLG, for the reward at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, with 2 fishes on top and 1 on the bottom, ranking third from top to bottom. Thank you Fanzeo Guang 188, people have short ambitions but short horses have long hair, harmonious brother, take a look at it when you are free, the beauty fades away, the old cat who doesn't drink, book friend 854 150, book friend 201803270001449111, Cao Cao Chuang Yang Wei Zhu, common, book friends 201711210832371166, at Invisible Man, Tube, Fat Bear who loves diving, book friends 1611222135011799, Humor Tribe, Jiangnan's Hainan 0111 monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1587. After the three people finished eating the haggis soup, they walked back to the end of the street, walked to the left on the Gongchen Bridge, and walked to the top of the arch bridge. There happened to be a long boat about to pass through the bridge opening. In this long fleet, there is a tug barge in front, and 7 or 8 unpowered cement sand transporting ships are strung behind. The three people stood there and watched, looking at them like a long snake, moving from Gongchen. The side of the bridge slowly swam to the other side. They continued walking under the bridge and entered the gate of Hangcheng Spoke Factory, stepping on the fallen leaves rustling on the ground. Wenwen even deliberately scratched the ground with her feet, making a louder noise. The three of them arrived at Zhang Chen's car. Zhang Chen got in the car. Wenwen wanted to get in the car. Xiaoli joked and cursed, "Dai, why are you going there instead of taking my car? What, do you want your boss to send you off again, or do you want to follow him home?" Wenwen shouted "Oh oh oh oh" and followed Xiaoli back to the factory, where Xiaoli's car was parked. Zhang Chen sat in the car, feeling suddenly a little empty. He twitched his nose. There seemed to be Wenwen's breath in the car. He closed his eyes slightly and seemed to still hear Wenwen's breathing. Zhang Chen adjusted his seat and fastened his seat belt. He took a deep breath while sitting and was about to start the car. He heard the sound of the motor starting not far away and retracted his hand. He saw a light shining on the trees and fence on the opposite side of the road, starting to move, slowly turning around, turning straight, and then drove past him. Zhang Chen watched Xiaoli's car turn around and disappear at the end of the road on the left, and then he started the car. When Zhang Chen followed him around the corner, Xiaoli's car had disappeared without a trace. The iron gate was still open. The security guard watching the door seemed to know that he had another car to go out, so he simply pulled back. In the communication room, "Leave the door open." Zhang Chen drove out of the gate and turned right. The entire right bank of the canal was dark. On the other side of the Gongchen Bridge, the lights were gradually dimming. The night was already deep, and serious people had already fallen asleep. Zhang Chen drove the car and passed Gongchen Bridge and continued to drive forward. He felt that driving fast and driving slowly were the same. It didn't matter even if he stopped here. He didn't have a destination that he needed to rush to. An urgent sleep awaited him. Zhang Chen held the steering wheel with one hand and drove forward slowly and leisurely, almost subconsciously. For a moment, he felt that he was just an old horse that knew its way, following a familiar old road, relying on instinct to drive forward. Go forward. The lights in front of us gradually began to brighten, and we were getting closer and closer to the city. After midnight, there were almost no people or cars on the streets of Hangzhou. At this time, even taxis were gathered at the entrances of several large KTVs. I squeezed in there waiting for the guests, and by the way, I also looked at the fragrant woman coming out of it, to satisfy my eyes. He didn't join in the fun, so he parked the car on the side of the road, took out his coat from the trunk, and covered himself with it to sleep. Zhang Chen was driving on the empty street. At this time, Xiaoli and Wenwen might have almost reached the dynamic zone. Zhang Chen thought about the previous scene in the car, thinking about how busy and constrained they were, and also thinking about the call Li Yong made to him earlier. At this time, Zhang Chen felt that the past seemed to be very open, and even if Li Yong came to persuade him, he also felt that the himself in those videos looked so artificial and disgusting to himself now. If you have nothing to do, come to this factory to sew buttons and lock buttonholes, and listen to the click, 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 click sound of the buttonhole machine. And it sounds better than your croaking voice. Zhang Chen cursed himself in his heart. Driving along the empty street, Zhang Chen slapped himself in the face again and again. He felt that he had been so boring in the past 6 months, and he really thought of himself as Professor Zhang. "You, from Zhejiang and the United States, have you ever been involved with the university?" Zhang Chen smiled bitterly and shook his head. Splendid home arrived. Zhang Chen drove the car in and parked in the parking lot. Zhang Chen turned off the car, but was not in a hurry to get out of the car. Instead, he put the seat back a little and sat at an angle. The car lights automatically turned off, and everything around him sank into darkness. The temperature in the car began to drop. Zhang Chen reached out from the back seat of the car and found his down jacket. He took it to cover himself. He sat in the car in the darkness. In the car, he was still thinking wildly. He felt that he was reluctant to get out of the car, and also a little afraid of getting off the car. I don't know how long it took. Zhang Chen's phone dinged, and a text message came in. Zhang Chen took the phone and looked at it. It was from Ween Wen. He quickly opened it. It read, "I'm at News Radisson 1508. Zhang Chen felt a burst of ecstasy in his heart. He quickly said okay. He straightened the seat and started the car. The Radisson Hotel in the International Building was only more than 1,000 meters away. After a while, Zhang Chen's car he appeared in the Radisson parking lot. After a while, Zhang Chenren was standing at the door of room 1508. He reached out and rang the doorbell. The door opened, Ween Wen stood inside with a smile, Zhang Chen walked in, and the two hugged each other. When they separated, Zhang Chen asked with a smile, "Why, it's a half-price room again." "No way," Ween Wen said, "how can I have time to spend time with them? It's full price." Zhang Chen chuckled. Ween Wen sighed and said, "Humph, it's more than 600. Is there a loser like me who hooks up with an old man and asks me to pay for the room?" Zhang Chen laughed and said, "Okay, I will give you back the added haggis soup." Ween Wen giggled and said yes, she was not allowed to keep any of it. The two hugged each other again. The next afternoon, Zhang Chen sent Ween Wen to Xiaoshan Airport. Ween Wen was going back to Beijing. The two of them stood at the security checkpoint. Ween Wen waved her hand in front of her face, as if to drive away something. She said, "I'm sorry." "Died." "What's wrong?" Zhang Chen asked. "Why do you make people feel a little sad when they break up?" Ween Wen said. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "What should we do? Come on, let me hug you." Before Zhang Chen could open his arms, Ween Wen had already hugged Zhang Chen, and Zhang Chen also hugged her. Passengers walking by them all turned to look at them, and Ween Wen cursed. "What are you looking at? Didn't you see the old couple saying goodbye?" Everyone who looked at them laughed, and Zhang Chen also laughed. The two people stood face to face. Zhang Chen said, "If you need anything, call me." Ween Wen shook her head, stared at him for a while, and then said, "Don't think that you owe me anything for this. I am the one who picked you up. I hope we can still be the same as before." "I like that." Zhang Chen said yes. "What a fart, you are no longer the same," Ween Wen scolded. Zhang Chen was puzzled and said, "Why am I different?" Ween Wen said, "If in the past, at this time, you would have told me, 'Go away, stop being so nagging,' you wouldn't know how to say yes. Once you say yes, it would make people a little sad." Zhang Chen laughed and said, "Okay, get out." Ween Wen nodded yeah, stood up on tiptoes, kissed Zhang Chen on the cheek, waved and left, walked 2 steps and then came back, walked closer, stood up on tiptoes, and knocked Zhang Chen with her head. Chen's head whispered, "I forgot to tell you that you, an old man, still smell good." Zhang Chen reached out to tease her, but Ween Wen giggled and ducked away. After passing the security gate, she turned around and saw Zhang Chen still standing here. Ween Wen pressed her right hand on her lips and blew a kiss to Zhang Chen. The female security inspector smiled and turned her head to look at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen quickly turned around and slipped away. Zhang Chen returned to his office. He stood there and looked around, then walked into the bathroom. After a while, he came out with a rag and started to wipe the desk. After wiping the desk, he returned with the rag. I went to the bathroom, wrung my hands in the sink, walked out, and continued wiping the coffee table. After wiping the coffee table, I started wiping the conference table and cabinets again. Zhang Chen wiped all the places in the office that could be wiped, then sat down at the desk, picked up the phone on the desk, called Zhao Jingjing and asked Zhao Jingjing to come over. Zhao Jingjing reported to Zhang Chen the situation of the entire financial center and the operating conditions of the following companies during the recent period. Zhang Chen listened carefully and kept asking questions. After Zhao Jingjing finished speaking, she looked at Zhang Chen and asked, Are you ready to take power again? What do you mean? Zhang Chen asked. We all thought that you would leave us alone, concentrate on your speech, and become a professional speaker. Kioxin, Ji Ling, Xiaoli, Huihuan, and Hagen and I were planning to find a time to talk to you, show your cards. What? Zhang Chen asked, you want to rebel? You won't rebel. We want you to come back and take charge of things again. If you don't do anything anymore, we'll leave it alone and let's see who can defeat the other. Zhao Jingjing said, think about how long you have been away from your job. I'll go, Zhang Chen scolded, I'm going to turn red from you. You should blush, Zhao Jingjing said, you don't care about the matter. Also, when we called you, you seemed to be hot on the phone and hung up without listening to a few words. Can we not have to report to you? Just doing whatever you want. Zhang Chen clasped his hands and bowed to Zhao Jingjing. He said, okay, Zhao Jingjing, I understand, I really blushed when you said it. Zhao Jingjing smiled, stood up, walked to the door and stopped, turned around and asked, should I call Ji Ling over for you? Zhang Chen was surprised and asked, how did you know I was looking for Ji Ling? Isn't this how it should be when we regain power? Zhao Jingjing said, after looking for Ji Ling, let's look for Kioxin. Zhang Chen thought for a moment and said, let's do this. Let Huihuan reserve a box, and then notify Brother Hagen, Zhao Xian, Kioxin, and Xiao, Xiaoli and Ji Ling, and Xiaowan, and Huihuan. I'll treat you to dinner tonight, and we'll talk while we eat. Zhao Jingjing said, yes, your attitude is okay, but you must be mentally prepared. What kind of mental preparation? Zhang Chen asked. Be careful with this meal, it will be a criticism meeting against you, Zhao Jingjing said, everyone is very angry with you. Zhang Chen said, yes, just shoot at me. Thank you 0HJKLG and Daos Hung 123 for the reward. Thank you for being stuck, forgetting your password and starting over, Toad dreaming of flying, Huajuajuo number 2, my heart falls for you, Smelly Socks, and Book Friends 201911021135467118 for your monthly votes. Thank you for all your recommendation votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1588. As expected, this dinner turned into a criticism meeting, but the main people criticizing Zhang Chen were Zhao Jingjing, Xiaoli, and Su Kioxin. Su Kioxin took the lead in firing. She scolded Zhang Chen a few times, and then asked Xiao Wu beside her, damn it, Xiao Wu, do you think so, or, Xiao Wu, you say the same thing. Xiao Wu just smiled, looked at Zhang Chen, then at Su Kioxin and the others, and still smiled. Su Kioxin continued to scold her, and when she finally finished speaking, she shouted, oh my god, I was so exhausted. Xiao Wu handed her a glass of water. She rolled her eyes at Xiao Wu and said, I don't want to drink your water, you traitor. We agreed to criticize the boss together today. Xiao Wu chuckled. Hagen said from the side, it's hard to survive. If a man encounters such a publicity thing, if he doesn't stay in the limelight, he won't be able to survive. Zhao Jingjing scolded, even if you are in the limelight, you must have a sense of proportion. How can someone be in the limelight outside all day long? I think he is not trying to be in the limelight, but a little too arrogant. He cannot position himself correctly and has an inflated ego. Zhang Chen laughed and said, Zhao Jingjing, where did you learn these words, and you still use them in the same way? Zhao Jingjing waved her hand and said, don't worry about it, just say it, right? Are you self-inflated or a little forgetful? Zhang Chen quickly said yes, you are criticizing. When Zhao Jingjing saw Ji Ling sitting there without saying a word, she asked, Ji Ling, do you have no objection to him? Ji Ling blushed and muttered, he is my master. What about the master? If the master does something wrong, the apprentice can still criticize him. Xylee said, he is still my boss. He has been my boss for more than 10 years, and I still have something to say about him. That's right, Zhao Jingjing and Su Qiaxin agreed. Ji Ling suppressed her blush for a long time. She looked at Zhang Chen and said, others, there's nothing else. I just can't find anyone, and it's hard to make phone calls. When I call, either no one answers, or Wen Wen answers and says that on the stage, I can't ask anything I want to ask. This is a bit troublesome. I can only design clothes, other designs must be checked by the master, and I need the help of the master to give guidance to the designers. Zhao Jingjing snorted and sneered, how busy is he? How can you still count on him? He doesn't even make any good money. He flies east and west every day and works as a life mentor for others. That's right, I think it's almost the same as those people wearing overalls at the airport. Su Qiaxin said. Everyone laughed, everyone knew what she was talking about. In every bookstore in the airport departure hall, there would be a TV set, inside which a man wearing overalls and a slicked back hair would watch all day long. He was talking about philosophy of life, business tips, etc. Next to him was a pile of his books and an advertisement for overalls. By the way, Ji Ling mentioned the phone call, and I remembered it. Xylee said, not only was it difficult for him to make phone calls, but also, even if he didn't receive the call, he wouldn't come back. It wasn't like this before. Yes, Xylee is right. Su Qiaxin tapped the table with her hand and shouted. Huihuan, if you have any opinions, please speak up. Zhao Jingjing looked at Huihuan and said. Huihuan stood up and said with a smile, I will urge them to serve the food quickly. As soon as he turned around and slipped out, Zhao Jingjing cursed, slippery. Huihuan who walked outside the door and the people inside laughed together. You, where are you two? Su Qiaxin pointed her hand at Zhao Xian and Xiaowan, who had been smiling beside them. Zhao Xian quickly waved her hands, and Zhao Jingjing scolded, why are you waving your hands? Just say what you have to say. I have no objection, Zhao Xian said, actually, it is good for me to be like this. Our oil painting studio is now more famous than before. Those painters, especially young painters, are looking for various connections. Contact us to see if we can collect their paintings. No money, Zhao Jingjing asked. No matter how much money it costs, I generally don't like it. But after we collected it, he became more powerful. He can brag to people everywhere, and he can also write on his profile that such and such a work was published in such and such a year and month. Hepan Oil Painting Museum's collection can increase his worth, Zhao Xian said. Zhao Jingjing nodded, there is still such a thing, that's not bad. Of course, after the boss's painting talk program was broadcast, someone saw on TV that our oil painting gallery is of this level, and donated his own collection to us. If these collections are auctioned, at least hundreds and tens of millions. Also, let me tell you, if the collection of our oil painting museum is re-evaluated now, I'm sure it will appreciate a lot, especially the paintings introduced in painting, the appraisal price will definitely rise significantly. Do you think, in works that have been specially introduced by CCTV have the same value? Like Sanyu, almost no one knew about it before. After the boss introduced it on TV, many people now come to the museum and want to see Sanyu's paintings. More than one auction company has contacted me and asked about our regular works. Can Jade's Tibetan paintings be put up for auction? Zhao Xian said. Zhao Jingjing waved her hand and said. Okay, I don't understand what you are saying. You don't count. Just stay here. It seems that it is impossible for you to fight him. You are almost blowing him to the sky. What about you, Xiaowan? Zhao Xian smiled and cupped her hands towards Zhao Jingjing and said, sorry. It's the same here, there are benefits here. Xiaowan said, the customers in the club want to know the boss now. Xiao Wan said and turned to Zhang Chen, "Boss, there are a few clients who insist on treating you to dinner, but I pushed them away. Humph, I'm not a pretty girl. Who has time to eat with them? However, I agreed to the photo request. At the next party, you have to come to the club to take a photo with them." Zhang Chen said, "Yes, you will notify me when the time comes." "Oh, by it," Su Kioxin shouted, "this master of public speaking has successfully become an idol for middle-aged and elderly women. Where are they? There are still many young people in our place, and they are all beautiful," Xiao Wan said, unconvinced. "What do you mean, Xiao Wan?" Su Kioxin asked. "You are not asking the boss to sign an autograph, but you are arranging for him to go on a blind date." Everyone laughed, and Zhao Jingjing was a little annoyed. She pointed at Zhao Xian and Xiao Wan and said, "You two are the only ones who know how to cause trouble. It's better for me to do it. Let me sum it up. I have written down the 4 major crimes of Mr. Zhang here." As Zhao Jingjing spoke, she took out a piece of paper from her pocket, and Zhang Chen's 4 major crimes were printed on it, almost filling up an A4 paper. Everyone was very curious and gathered around to take a look. Zhao Jingjing shouted, don't worry, I'll read it, I'll read it, I'll read it out." She looked at Zhang Chen and asked, "Mr. Zhang, are you ready?" Zhang Chen nodded and said, "Ready." "Then I start." "Good." Zhao Jingjing began to read, one by one, eloquently, and the words were sharp, but also reasonable. Zhang Chen felt that these words were not something Zhao Jingjing could say, and he didn't know where she copied them from. What Zhao Jingjing said before, being a little arrogant, not being able to position yourself correctly, being self-inflated, forgetting oneself, etc., turned out to be all written on this page. Zhang Chen listened. Not only was he not annoyed, but he felt a little moved. He had seen this scene a long time ago, when he was in Haikan, in Meng Ping's company. If Meng Ping did something wrong, Qian Fang, Su Jiaking and Ye Yulan would all attack him together like this. At that time, both Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan jokingly called this the Sunyang godson, but they were envious in their hearts. What boss wouldn't want to have such a group of subordinates? Zhang Chen felt that he no longer had to envy Meng Ping. He had what Meng Ping had. Hui Huan came in from the outside, holding 4 books by Zhang Chen in her hand, and said to him, "Mr. Zhang, please help me sign the autographs. These are left here by several old customers. Please let you sign them." Zhang Chen readily agreed, took out his pen, and signed. Zhao Xian said, "By the way, I need this too. Many people who come to the oil painting gallery to buy books ask for signed copies." Hagen said, "The merchants below me also asked me for it." Xiao Wan shouted, "My customers need it too." Zhao Jingjing thought for a while and said to Zhao Xian, "You might as well enter 2,000 copies and let Mr. Zhang sign them." Zhao Xian agreed, and Zhang Chen shouted, 2,000 copies? Zhao Jingjing, are you crazy? Are you trying to exhaust me to death? Zhao Jingjing is right. If you sit in the office and sign autographs every day, you won't run around. Everyone laughed. After eating, Zhang Chen did not go to the office, but went home. Wenwen was a bit brave. He changed various tricks last night and tormented him all night. Zhang Chen was a little tired and wanted to go home and rest early. Zhang Chen entered the house and just sat down on the sofa. His cell phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Xiao Fang. Zhang Chen quickly picked it up. As soon as the phone call came through, Xiao Fang giggled on the other end of the phone. She asked, "Brother-in-law, how are you? You were just repaired by Zhao Jingjing and the others." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Yes, I was educated by a few old ladies." "Hey, Xiao Fang, how did you know that Zhao Jingjing called you and told you?" Xiao Fang didn't answer, she just kept smiling on the phone. Zhang Chen was so excited that he remembered and asked. Xiao Fang, were you the one who wrote the 4 major crimes? Xiao Fang said yes, brother-in-law, don't be angry. I'm not angry. Do you think I'm such a chicken-hearted person? Zhang Chen said. Xiao Fang said no, I know my brother-in-law is not, but I wrote the 4 major crimes, and the contents were all what Zhao Jingjing and the others really wanted to say. They brought all the complaints to me, and I asked Zhao Jingjing to read them. She had an outlet. Zhang Chen said, I understand. But brother-in-law, this is really not a joke. In New York, I have seen too many bosses from China. When they have money, they forget about it. Occasionally they succeed, and then they drift away. They feel that they can do anything. I can do anything. In 1 year I heard that there were no fewer than 10 people who wanted to acquire the New York Times and CNN. There are still people who don't understand anything and just say that they want to acquire the entire Hollywood. They also ask, if they acquire Hollywood, all the female stars can have unspoken rules. When many people are having dinner together, they are so loud. Say it, disgusting. What's even funnier is that he wants us to buy him a governor's dang. Brother-in-law, I've seen too many people like this. Xiao Fang, are you worried that I will become like this? Zhang Chen asked. No, brother-in-law, I'm not worried that you will become as boring as them, but when people wander, there will be various manifestations. What I am worried about is the other side, Xiao Fang said. Worry about what? I'm worried that you will offend people. I'm worried that these people you offend will wear small shoes for you. It might be better to wear small shoes. I'm worried that they will set a trap on you and you don't know it yet, Xiao Fang said seriously. Really, even Bai Bei was worried. He watched the video that day and kept thinking about how many people his father would offend. Brother-in-law, we are really worried about you. Zhang Chen said yes, I understand, Xiao Fang, I have decided to stop talking nonsense. Yeah, that puts us at ease, brother-in-law, Xiao Fang said on the other end of the phone. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Hu Dong Long Dong, 0HJKLG, Tian Machine Kong, and Book Friends 201701191722579990 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1589. Zhang Chen went to the airport to pick up Lu Qing. Lu Qing came back alone this time, for both business and personal reasons. She came back to stay with her mother for a few days, and also planned the filming of the story of painting with Zhang Chen. When Lu Qing was picked up, it was already past 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Zhang Chen took Lu Qing directly to the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. Zhao Xian looked happy when she saw them. Zhang Chen asked, "Did you find the money?" Zhao Xian smiled and said, "I'm happier than finding money. Boss, I'm talking about an exhibition. If the deal is successful, haha, just listen to the thunder in the silent place." What exhibition makes you so proud? Zhang Chen was also infected by her and asked with a smile. Andy Warhol, Zhao Xian said. Zhang Chen was surprised and asked quickly, who are you talking about? Andy Warhol, Zhao Xian smiled, "Why, you don't know him?" "No, why would he talk to us about his exhibition?" Zhang Chen was surprised. "This is also a mistake," Zhao Xian said, "who asked Andy Warhol to go to Beijing and Shanghai? The gentlemen who reviewed and approved it were not sure whether they should let him go. They also had to consider the development of the country. Museum, how about exhibiting Andy Warhol?" Zhang Chen understood that Andy Warhol was an important modernist painter in the United States. Many people, when they see the 3 words modernist, will have a drum in their hearts and have many associations for no reason. Therefore, modernist poetry, in their view, is problematic poetry, and modernist literature is literature worthy of discussion. In our literary and art circles, realism has always been superior, and modernism is a slightly derogatory term, so much so that Shanghai Literature and Art Publishing House published a set of 8 volumes of selected works of foreign modernists. It can only be distributed internally. "We are fine here, the door is open," Zhao Xian said. "My door is always open, of course Andy Warhol can come in." I called the Cultural Affairs Bureau, and they didn't even know who Andy Warhol was. They just asked that nothing with reactionary content should appear, and that there should be no nude photos. Artworks are acceptable. I promise, there are not even nudes in the works of art. Andy Warhol has nothing to do with these. "Boss, have you seen these in his works?" Zhang Chen shook his head and said, "I have never seen it before. Even the MZD portrait he created has a very positive image. He created it when Nixon visited China and it was published in our domestic newspapers." Lu Qing shouted from the side, "Hey, then, can any of you do a good job and tell me who this idiot is, Andy Warhol?" Zhao Xian pointed at Zhang Chen and said with a smile, "Let Professor Zhang tell you. He is a representative figure of American pop art. You must have seen his works," Zhang Chen said. "Wait a minute," Lu Qing waved her hand, "forgive me for being such an idiot, but first tell me what pop art is." Zhang Chen said, "Pop art is an art genre that originated in the United Kingdom in the 1950s. To be more precise, it is an art style originating from commercial society. It is popular in the United States and is characterized by bringing the masses into some cultural details, such as comic strips, fast food, and packaging with trademarks, are enlarged and reproduced." Lu Qing said, "Okay, I understand," and you went on to talk about Andy Warhol. Zhang Chen said, "He likes to stimulate people's senses by constantly copying images to form a series of paintings. For example, Marilyn Monroe uses 9 posters of Marilyn Monroe's smiling face to form a series. The painting Che Guevara also used 9 Guevara's heads, and Camel soup cans was made up of 32 posters of cans." Lu Qing nodded, "I should have seen the picture of Monroe you mentioned. I must have seen it before. It is also published in domestic newspapers and periodicals," Zhang Chen said. "Is there anything special about his works?" Lu Qing asked. "If you look at it now, many of his works are very ordinary and nothing special, but at the time, they can be said to be epoch-making," Zhang Chen said. "First of all, his works are not paintings, but works. It comes out just like making a product. His significance lies in opening up the boundaries between artists and the general public, art and commerce, elegance and popularity. It turns out that the general public feels that they are far away from art. Art is the business of artists. Andy Warhol made, as we all know, this is not the case. Even a bottle of Coca-Cola, a can, or a piece of soap can be art. Art is not only created by artists in their studios, but can also be produced by factory assembly lines. It can be created by everyone in their own garage, that is, starting from him. Advertising can openly call itself advertising. Art industrial products can openly call themselves product design and packaging design. He has infinitely expanded the boundaries of art. Without Andy Warhol and pop art, our lives today wouldn't be so colorful. The food and supplies we come into contact with every day would not have such practicality. What an exquisite design. Andy Warhol can be said to have liberated art and commodities at the same time, giving them a new definition." Lu Qing nodded and said, "I kind of understand. So if his works are exhibited here, it will definitely cause a sensation," Zhang Chen said. "Painters and artists from all over the country will come to see it with the mood of pilgrimage. Then we can also do a show," Lu Qing said excitedly. Zhang Chen was right. I even thought of a name right away. It was called Close Encounter with Andy Warhol, or Hello, Andy. "Hello, Andy, this name is great," Lu Qing shouted. "I can also reveal something. If this matter is negotiated, Andy Warhol's works will be shipped here from New York, and the insurance company's insurance coverage will be $4.6 billion, Zhao Xian said. Is it true? Do you need to ensure this? Lu Qing asked. No need, we just provide the exhibition venue, and the rest is taken care of by us. China Cultural Exchange Foundation, Zhao Xian said. It's finalized, Zhao Xian, please finalize this matter quickly, Lu Qing said. Zhao Xian smiled and said, I will. Zhang Chen looked at Lu Qing and asked, are you no longer in the mood to discuss the film today? Lu Qing chuckled, as soon as I heard this, I got excited. Okay, let's talk about business now. Ouch, Zhao Xian shouted, look, I came here to talk about this, and I didn't even pour water for you. What do you want to drink? I want coffee, Lu Qing said. Zhao Xian asked Zhang Chen, are you still tea? Zhang Chen nodded. Lu Qing and Zhang Chen said that we have received a lot of feedback from viewers. Their appetite has also increased. They feel that the program is too short and not enough to watch. In addition, they do not know enough about the background of the painter. I hope we can more introduction. Now, it is impossible to lengthen the program itself. If it is lengthened, other programs will be squeezed out. We can only think of ways in terms of format, Lu Qing said. Zhang Chen thought for a while and said, you can form a series by yourself in 5 or 6 episodes. Then, you can expand the introduction of a single painting to introduce a painter, a painting school, or an important artistic event. The angle is still starting from a painting, and then going deeper, so that the style is consistent with the original. But the content is richer and more fulfilling. Lu Qing's eyes lit up and she shouted, that's great, Brother Zhang, just follow this idea, so that for the audience, after watching the series, they can have a complete this painter or school of painting well, right? Zhang Chen is right. Okay, I will report to the superiors based on this idea. By the way, do you have a topic to choose, Brother Zhang? Lu Qing asked. If this is the case, there are too many topics to choose from, Zhang Chen said. For example, the birth of Chinese oil painting is a topic to choose from, which can talk about Western missionaries, PoortoRich and Castiglione. By the way, I can also tell you a very interesting thing. People may not know this now. At that time, in Guangzhou, in addition to tea and silk, we also exported something to the West. That thing was oil painting, which was called export painting at that time, and also called trade painting. At that time, there were a large number of painters engaged in this work in Guangzhou, including foreign missionaries and Chinese painters who were born and raised in China and learned to paint oil paintings from the missionaries. The subjects of their paintings were Chinese landscapes and figures. Export paintings traveled all over the world along with silk and tea. This is good, this is a good subject, Lu Qing said. Also, our earliest painters, including later and now, the painters who support the entire Chinese oil painting, they basically all studied abroad. Some went to France, some went to Japan, some went to the United States. We can one by one, depending on the country where you study abroad, follow their footsteps. As Zhang Chen was talking, a sudden inspiration came to him and he said, we can make a series called Masters Forgotten by History. There are many very high-level painters in them, but they have been completely forgotten now. To be honest, I am also in contact with those old gentlemen. Only then did I know their names and see their works. For example, Tan Huamua, Zhu Yunzi, Shachi, Liao Xingxiu, Lu Ziming, He Mukan, and San Yu, whom I introduced before, etc. Their level is very high, no less than these famous painters now, but they have all been forgotten for one reason or another, and almost no one mentions them anymore. We can dig them out. This is okay, this topic is also okay, Lu Qing said, but since they have been forgotten, can we find material related to them? Zhang Chen smiled and said, we have it here, otherwise how would I know? Zhao Xian said, we have their works, their exhibition passes, photos and reports from foreign media at various exhibitions abroad at that time, as well as reminiscence articles and letters from their classmates and friends. It's more than enough to make a series, Zhang Chen said. Also, all the materials may be disclosed for the first time. For example, everyone thinks that there is only one female painter studying in France, Pan Yuliang. They don't know that Lu Ziming is also a Parisian. A student at the École Supérieure des Beaux-Arts, her work Winter Breakfast won the school's honorary award and was also selected for the French Autumn Salon. Stop talking, Brother Zhang. If you keep talking, I want to start filming right away, Lu Qing said. By the way, Brother Zhang, can you help me formulate each of these topics into words? I will report immediately. Go up so we can start as soon as possible, and on the Gome side, hold back. No problem. Before Zhang Chen said anything, Zhao Xian agreed for him. Zhang Chen looked at him, Zhao Xian giggled and said to Zhang Chen, "This is more interesting than sitting around signing autographs every day, right? Thank you to Crush Killer VIP for the reward. Thank you to Crush Killer VIP, Piao Ling Yu, Feng Po Lang 26, Gonks, Kingbo, Book Friends 854 984, Rainman, and Cowboy Grandpa for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening, everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1590. Zhang Chen looked at the time and saw that it was already past 5 o'clock. It was dinner time. Zhang Chen asked Lu Qing what she wanted to eat. My mother is waiting for me when I go home, Lu Qing said. I got off the plane and came here directly. I haven't even seen my mother yet. Zhang Chen said yes, then I will give it to you. Zhang Chen drove Lu Qing to their door. Lu Qing turned around and asked, why don't you go in and have dinner with us? When Zhang Chen heard this, he quickly shook his head. Lu Qing smiled and said, why, are you afraid of seeing my mother? Zhang Chen said, a little bit. I met you last time at Pudong Airport when your parents sent you abroad. It has been so many years. What does eating have to do with how many years we haven't seen each other? Lu Qing looked at him and asked. Zhang Chen said, we haven't seen each other for many years. If we want to meet, let's meet formally. It's a bit presumptuous to just barge in like this. Why, you still want to come here with big and small bags? If you bring them, my mother won't accept them, and she will give you a look. In this way, my mother will be very enthusiastic. Lu Qing said. When she saw Zhang Chen still sitting still, she understood, after all, I am still afraid of seeing him. You are making excuses for yourself, right? Zhang Chen nodded honestly, yes. Lu Qing chuckled, I didn't expect that you would still be afraid of meeting people. Aren't you afraid of offending anyone on stage? Zhang Chen chuckled, it's different, it's different. Okay, then I'll give you a chance to meet in a formal setting, Lu Qing said, opening the car door. Don't forget to list a few more topics. Zhang Chen said yes. Then I'll let you go, bye. Lu Qing said as she got out of the car, then opened the rear door, took her backpack from the back seat, said goodbye again, and left. Zhang Chen was about to start the car when his cell phone rang. It was Tan Shehen. Zhang Chen picked it up. Tan Shehen asked, Zhang Chen, where are you? Can you go back to the M zone? Zhang Chen said back. What do you want to eat? I'll buy it, Tan Shehen asked. Forget it, let's go eat Japanese food. Ho ho, Zhang Chen, the sun didn't come out from the west today. I'm too lazy to talk to you about where to go. Okay, just go eat Japanese food. Your attitude doesn't matter. Let's go separately. Zhang Chen said yes. When Tan Shehen has nothing to do, she will still go to Zhang Chen's dynamic zone for dinner upstairs, but now, there are fewer people eating with them, and the food is simpler. The dishes in the canteen below plus 1 or 2 more people want to eat the dishes are dealt with. Xiaoli is basically in the factory, Su Kioxin and Xiaowu, even if Su Kioxin has to work overtime at night, they have to go home to eat dinner, and then come back to the unit after eating. Su Kioxin and Zhang Chen said that if they don't go back for a day, teacher Wang instantly transformed into Tang Monk. If I didn't go back for 2 days, she would come to the work unit to see if I was really busy or just looking for excuses to avoid her. The same goes for Ji Ling. After her mother left for Zhongshan, Ji Ling would go home every evening, or bring food back from the canteen below, or take her father out to eat after returning home. Occasionally, Ji Donghai I cooked 1 or 2 meals, but for 2 of us, we couldn't even eat it. It was too unpalatable. Ji Ling and the others have now moved to Qianzhong New Town. Although Qianzhong New Town is full of high-rise buildings, life is very inconvenient. There are no markets, commercial streets, or small restaurants near their home. There is only Shaxian snacks, Ji Ling said. It is the Shaxian snack with the stalest ingredients in Hangzhou. After eating it once, she didn't dare to take her father there a second time. The closest business district to their home is the Vientiane City in Qianzhong New Town. When the weather is nice, Ji Ling takes Ji Donghai to the Vientiane City Tower to eat and go shopping. However, the restaurants on the Vientiane City Tower are full of business. Very good, you need to queue up, which is a bit troublesome. Zhang Chen arrived upstairs at the Friendship Hotel. Tan Shahen arrived before him. There was no need to tell him the box number. Zhang Chen could see when he walked in that the curtains on the door frames of the boxes that were still waiting for people had mostly been removed. You walk along the passage and you can see the person you are looking for. Zhang Chen quickly found Tan Shahen. He walked in and sat down. The waiter came over and asked, "Are all your guests here?" Tan Shahen has finished speaking, and it's time to serve. The waiter said, "Wait a moment." She hung up the curtain on the door frame and left. In this way, the inside and outside immediately became 2 worlds. The outside was unfamiliar, but the inside was familiar. Tan Shahen looked at Zhang Chen and said with a smile, "What stimulated you today to actually take the initiative to come here?" "I told you, I'm too lazy to talk to you about where to eat. When it comes to this, you will definitely not object." Tan Shahen said ha and asked, "Where is Wen Wen?" "I went back to Beijing yesterday, and Lu Qing is here today." "Oh, then you still have time to accompany me and you didn't invite her to dinner." Tan Shahen was surprised. "She invited me to dinner, but it was just to her home, and I ran away." Tan Shahen laughed and said, "No wonder." "What's the wonder?" Zhang Chen asked. "I'm the one who got the support," Tan Shahen said. "It seems that Wen Wen was right, Lu Qing likes you." "Don't talk nonsense." "I'm not talking nonsense. If she doesn't like you, why would she let you go to her house for dinner? Who would bring someone home these days?" "Nonsense," Zhang Chen said. "It's just that I took her home and when I arrived at her door, she was just polite." Tan Shahen looked at Zhang Chen and shook her head. She sighed. "Zhang Chen, sometimes you are just like a piece of wood. If people don't accept you, you can just send it to the door. If you want to come in, they will refuse. This person intentionally wants her mother to know you. First, be mentally prepared. There are many people sending me home. Besides you and Xiaowu, who else has eaten at my house?" Zhang Chen glanced at Tan Shahen and said angrily, "So, you like me too?" "Yes, I like you," Tan Shahen said. "If no one wants us when we get old, we will partner up." "Go away, I'm not a recycling bin," Zhang Chen cursed. "I can't get out. When that day comes, you Zhang Chen will definitely accept me." "I'm sure of it," Tan Shahen said with a smile. "That's just being friends." "Okay, Friends can also team up with each other and rely on each other. I'll go, I feel uncomfortable talking about this, Jiang Chen, we won't have such a miserable life in the future, right? Tan Shahan said with a bitter face. Jiang Chen laughed heartily and said, it's possible. Anyway, I never thought that there would be a day when Zhang Xiangbei would never leave my side. It's hard for you to say. What do you mean? I just want Nan Nan to stay with me, and that's up to her to be willing. She won't dislike me, Tan Shahan said. When that time comes, Jiang Chen, what will we do? There's nothing to do. Take care of yourself. I'm ready anyway, Jiang Chen said. What have you prepared? Tan Shahan asked curiously. That house in Sanya is just for me to live in. I can paint, enjoy the wind, and bask in the sun every day, Jiang Chen said. Tan Shahan thought of Jiang Chen's villa on the top of the mountain in Sanya Tropical Botanical Garden. She said, okay, you can take me in then. Tan Shahan, are you crazy? Jiang Chen asked. What's wrong? Do you think this is a senior citizens club? Tan Shahan burst out laughing. After laughing enough, she said, didn't you say this place is very ambiguous? Then let's not flirt. Does the flirting last until your late teens or early 80s? Okay, Professor Zhang, tell me, what are you going to do next after you change your ways? In the past 2 days, I will first write out the topic selection for Lu Qinjiao so that she can submit it. Then, I will patrol my territory and go to Shanghai and Sanya. If I have time, I will go to Beijing. Check it out at the branch office, Jiang Chen said. There is no time. December 20th, 9 days later, your time must be given to me, Tan Shahan said. What? My project in Yongcheng is about to open, and I feel a little panicked. You must accompany me. You're not flustered, but guilty, right? The housing prices in Yongcheng have suddenly increased to more than 10,000. Are you afraid that the people in Yongcheng will beat you? Yes, that's why you have to accompany me, Tan Shahan said. Okay, Jiang Chen said, bring Xiaowu with you, you won't be afraid anymore. Tan Shahan nodded yet. Jiang Chen looked at Tan Shahan and thought of Huang Linghua. Tan Shahan returned to Yongcheng. If there was really anything to be afraid of, Jiang Chen felt that it was Huang Linghua that she should be afraid of. People are very strange. When you are young and have nothing, you may not be afraid of anything, but when you get older and become somewhat successful, you will be afraid of more things. Just like Jiang Chen, when he was young, he was not afraid of Hong Ganglu and those bad guys. When Lu Ligan and Meng Ping disappeared from Haikan, he would have gone to Haikan if Xiao Zhao hadn't stopped them. But when he returned to Haikan last year, even after such a long time, he was actually a little worried, so when he saw Xiao Zheng at Haikan Milan Airport, he was very happy. Jiang Chen thought that the same was true for Tan Shahan. When Huang Linghua found the specialty store on Yan'an Road and Tan Shahan confronted her, she must not have been afraid at that time. If she had arrived too late, maybe Tan Shahan would still confront her. Huang Linghua fought, but now, Jiang Chen felt that Tan Shahan should feel scared. If nothing else, the simplest thing is that it's not worth it. The identity and status of the two people are different, so it's not worth betting. The one who wears shoes is always afraid of the one who wears bare feet. That's the reason. The one who wears shoes needs to find someone who wears shoes directly. It's a one-on-one challenge, and when someone wearing shoes wants to do something barefoot, he has to find two minions. In the final analysis, he still lacks the courage to face it alone. Therefore, even if Tan Shahan didn't say anything, Jiang Chen would accompany her to Yongcheng. When the food came, Tan Shahan said, I haven't eaten these for a long time and couldn't wait to eat. After eating for a while, she found that Jiang Chen hadn't moved his chopsticks. Tan Shahan asked, why don't you eat? I'm watching you eat, so pay attention to how you eat. It's okay. Tan Shahen raised her chopsticks and shook them. We are an old married couple, do you still care about this? Zhang Chen laughed. He remembered that at the airport, Wen scolded those people, what are you looking at? I haven't seen an old couple saying goodbye. Thank you to Wanyan Submarine Number 1, Riri Fanchu, Dal Tin Soldier, 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, third from top to bottom, 2 fishes, 1 above and 1 below. Thank you for 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, hoo, the chair in the world, Zixi, the toad dreaming of flying, the snow is flying. Book Friends 2017112108323716. Book Friends 2021031615021795. My heart is falling for you, George Shao, First Home Mortgage, specially for CAO Xiaomin. Books monthly tickets for Friends 2020031823295651 and book Friends 2020041621464535. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1591. After dinner, Tan Shahen asked Zhang Chen to accompany her to go shopping in the center of Hangzhou. Zhang Chen refused to go no matter what. Tan Shahen raised a finger and begged, one time, just one time, and she will never let you accompany her next time. Zhang Chen shook his head and said, it won't happen even this time. I hate shopping with women the most. After Zhang Chen finished speaking, he felt guilty. In fact, he didn't hate shopping with women. He used to accompany Jin Lily, then Xiao Zhao, and even he Hung Mei didn't know how many times he went shopping with her. Jin Lily and Xiao Zhao's clothes were basically the same. I bought it on Zhang Chen's suggestion. Why can't I accompany Tan Shahen? Zhang Chen thought about it and understood. Jin Lily and Xiao Zhao became like idiots as soon as they entered the mall, relying 100% on themselves. Tan Shahen had too many ideas of her own. Zhang Chen smiled and said, I'll go shopping with you, and we'll probably have a fight later on. I will let you, Tan Shahen said. If I don't go, Zhang Chen said, I'll feel very uncomfortable. Why? You bought it unwillingly, it's better to keep it out of sight, Zhang Chen said. Tan Shahen had no choice but to call Su Kioxin. Su Kioxin had already finished her meal at home and returned to the company. Tan Shahen asked her if she had time. There is still a little time now, and it will be very busy at 10 o'clock, Su Kioxin said. Tan Shahen laughed and said, this is enough time. How about we go shopping in the center of Hangzhou? Su Kioxin agreed, and Tan Shahen agreed with her on the phone that she would call her downstairs at the dynamic zone. I can walk this way by myself, Su Kioxin said. It's so cold outside and the phoenix is so big, aren't you afraid of scratching your face? Su Kioxin said oh and hung up the phone. Zhang Chen asked Tan Shahen, what addiction did you get today that makes you want to go shopping so much? Tan Shahen said, I haven't gone shopping for 2 months. If I don't go shopping anymore, I feel like I am no longer a woman. It's unreasonable, Zhang Chen shook his head. The two people went downstairs and drove away. It was still early, and Zhang Chen didn't want to go home, so he decided to go to the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery to look at the paintings, check information, and decide on a few topics. When passing by a bald noodle shop, Zhang Chen felt hungry. He almost didn't eat the Japanese food just now. Zhang Chen parked his car in front of the noodle shop and didn't get out of the car. Instead, he pressed down the window and called to the shop owner, asking him to fry a portion of fried noodles with shredded pork, add 2 poached eggs, and take them away. Arriving at the parking lot of Gentian Power Plant, Zhang Chen sat in the car and finished the noodles before getting out of the car. Zhang Chen arrived at the warehouse, poured himself a cup of tea, sat down on the sofa, closed his eyes, and his mind was running at high speed. He wanted to sort out the historical knowledge he already had about Chinese oil painting from scratch. The origin of Chinese oil painting begins with MaleProtagonist and Castiglione. These missionaries were mainly active in the northern court. MaleProtagonist lived in Beijing for 9 years. Castiglione went to China when he was 27 years old and lived in China. 51 years passed through the three dynasties of Kangxi, Yongzheng, and Qianlong until his death in Beijing in 1766 at the age of 78. MaleProtagonist and Castiglione were undoubtedly the first people to bring oil painting to China, but Zhang Chen did not think that they were Chinese oil painters. They and later the Frenchman Wang Zhetian, the Bohemian Ai Kameng, the Italian Pentium Zhang, etc., they were all Westerners who served the Chinese emperor. Most of the content they painted was Chinese, and they worked and lived in China. But it is difficult to say that what they painted was Chinese oil painting, or that they were Chinese oil painters. This can be a topic choice, but Zhang Chen feels that this point needs special explanation. When it comes to the export paintings stage of the Guangzhou 13th group, it is a different scene. They are Western custom-made, that is, according to the needs of Western customers. After the paintings are finished in Guangzhou, they go out by sea, and they are sold to mainland China. The influence is almost very small. That group of painters can be said to completely serve Westerners. This can be seen from the fact that they all give themselves foreign names, including those used on paintings, and they also sign in English. For example, Guanziulan is also called Spualam, and Guanxiaochang is also called Lamqua and Lingua. Zhang Chen and his Riverside Oil Painting Gallery had a self-portrait of Guanxiaochang. Zhang Chen felt it was a pity. If it hadn't been for a middle-aged man wearing a Chinese long coat, Zhang Chen felt that the technique was quite harmonious. It was comparable to Blanc or Rubens, but it was such a masterpiece. It was said that it was very popular at the time because of the low fee. In this way, a large number of his works were exported overseas. One of them, Portrait of an Old Man, was also selected for the exhibition of the Royal Academy of Fine Arts. He may be the first Chinese painter to participate in exhibitions in Europe and the United States, but these exhibitions, in addition to bringing him more business, does not bring more. His paintings, which were exported to the West along with silk, tea, and porcelain, have now disappeared and are rarely seen. Zhang Chen once asked Yao Fen and Zhao Xian to consciously search overseas, but they could not find them. Many of Guanqiaokang's Western custom paintings are landscapes, and there are also many Western figure paintings. With his English signature, even Westerners would not think that they were painted by a Chinese. Zhang Chen feels pity when he thinks about it now. Zhang Chen believes that the real cradle of Chinese oil painting should be Shanghai's Taishanwan Painting Gallery after the export paintings. Taishanbei is located in the southwest of Sujiawai, Shanghai, covering an area of more than 70 acres. In 1864, the Shanghai Catholic Church moved the orphanage here and named it Taishanbei Orphanage. In 1867, this place a small church and neat rows of houses were built. These houses are the Taishanwan Painting Gallery. More than 200 orphans aged 6 to 12 or 13 were sent here by churches from various places. They were gathered here for 6 years of painting training. After the study, they stayed in the art studio to paint icons and religious paintings. When the number of works was greatest, the Taishanwan Painting Gallery, also known as the Taishanwan Art Workshop, had more than 340 people. The people who presided over the painting gallery were the Spaniard Fan Tingzuo and the Italian Ma Yugo. The Taishanwan Painting Gallery also made its own oil paints. At that time, all the paintings and sculptures in the Catholic churches in Shanghai came from the Taishanwan Painting Gallery, which had a great influence. The Taishanwan Painting Gallery has been in existence for more than 90 years since 1864. Modern Chinese painters such as Su Yongqing, Zhang Chonggren, Zhou Xiang, Ren Bonian, Zhang Yuguang, Ding Wei, etc. all received their art education here. It also laid the foundation for Shanghai to become the center of Chinese oil painting in the future. It can be said that it is the cradle of Chinese oil painting, and it is well deserved. Zhang Chen decided to consider Tianwan Painting Gallery as a topic. Going back in time, the most important figure is Cai Yuanpi. The growth of Su Biang, Lu Haisu, Lin Fengmian, and Wu Dao is all related to Cai Yuanpi. It was also under his promotion that Western oil painting and artistic ideas were promoted in China. A large number of Chinese young people began to pursue their dreams across the ocean, going to France, the United States, Japan, Germany, Spain, and Belgium, and even Mexico. Chinese oil painting, for the first time, fully integrated with the West. At this stage, there were too many articles to write and too many special topics to shoot. Zhang Chen decided to put them aside for now. He felt that they needed to be sorted out. According to the method he and Lu Qing discussed, Zhang Chen felt that since the 5 or 6 episodes were a special topic of their own, there was no need to follow the timeline. The entire history of Chinese oil painting could be cut into sections, like sausages. One event after another can be jumped in time and interspersed with each other. This form will actually be more lively and attractive. Zhang Chen thought that Maximov's oil painting training class could be a topic selection. It would have a profound impact on Chinese oil painting, even China's art education, and even art examinations. In the spring of 1955, the Ministry of Culture made a decision to hire Soviet expert Maximov to come to China and start an oil painting training class at the Central Academy of Fine Arts, the Maximov training class, referred to as the horse training class. Maximum the formulation of teaching syllabus for various departments of the Academy of Fine Arts. The horse training class started in the spring of 1955 and ended in July 1957. There were a total of 19 students, all of whom were selected from various art schools, military units, publishing houses, artists' associations, and other units across the country. They are Feng Feisai, Jin Shanghai, Zhan Jianjun, He Kongd, Ho Yuman, Gao Hong, Wang Duai, Wang Liuqiu, and so on. These people later became important figures in the Chinese oil painting circle, and served as department heads, deans, principals, and other positions in various art schools. The art education ideas and methods of the former Soviet Union were introduced to them through the horse training class, and then it has affected the entire Chinese art academies now. Maximov particularly emphasized the importance of sketching in his teaching methods. From that time on, sketching was promoted to an unprecedented height in Chinese art education. A sketch requires 40 to 80 class hours. Complete, even longer, the purpose is to train students to be completely faithful to the subject of the painting through such demanding and delicate training. The emphasis on sketching can be said to be that sketching is paramount, so that later in the art test, the scores for sketching and coloring were the same. As a candidate, if you are not good at sketching, no matter how good the coloring is, you are destined to fail. Zhang Chen feels that this kind of rigid and rigorous teaching may be beneficial to a painter's skill training and craftsmanship cultivation, but it will definitely stifle the artist's imagination and creativity. If he follows Maximov's teaching requirements, many famous painters around the world are unqualified, especially those after the Impressionists. As an art event with great influence, Zhang Chen felt that it was necessary to introduce the Maximov training course to everyone. Zhang Chen also thought about the topics of scar art and star art exhibition, but in the end he felt it was too sensitive and inappropriate and gave up. When he decided to give up, Zhang Chen himself laughed. He joked to himself, "Professor Zhang, have you ever been so good?" Zhang Chen originally just wanted to sit here and sort out his thoughts, but after his thoughts became smoother, he couldn't help it. He simply turned on the computer and started writing. He wrote more than 8,000 words on several topics, and he felt hungry when he finished writing. He himself felt strange. Is writing articles so helpful for digestion? Looking at his watch, Zhang Chen was shocked. It was already past 5 o'clock in the morning. He had been here all night, no wonder he was hungry. Zhang Chen sent the written topic plan to Lu Qing's email. After thinking about it, he couldn't help but proudly sent a text message to Lu Qing, "The topic plan has been written and has been sent to your email." After sending the text message, Zhang Chen stood up and was about to leave when his cell phone rang. It was Lu Qing calling. Zhang Chen quickly picked it up. Lu Qing asked, "Brother Zhang, where are you?" "Oil painting gallery." "Are you too nervous to sleep?" Lu Qing asked. Zhang Chen said with a smile, "Look and write, and before you know it, the whole night has passed." "Okay, thank you for your hard work. Go back and go to sleep," Lu Qing said. "Thank you 0HJKLG for the tip. Thank you for your monthly votes for Kankanshan Shui, Qian Dad, Toad Dreaming of Flying, Yuengzi, George Xiao, Book Friends 201906211331025336, Book Friends 202004162146453553, Tamagotchi, and Book Friends 1103052217156771. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone.